Alright, okay, I think we're alive. Sorry about the air blast. Let's get into it. It's already 11:30 in the evening, so we need to get rolling. Anyway, so I received a package today from Harold of CMIZapper, which you know as the person who also creates the chipmunks for us, and the MagSafe tester, and yeah, it basically produces a bunch of really useful tools for MacBook repairs and other machine repairs. It just happens to be often we're focused on MacBooks, but I wasn't really expecting this, so this was quite a surprise to see come in, because I've been looking for a way to solve a couple of problems with some new MacBook boards, and with regards to programming some of the chips or getting data off some of the chips, and these things turned up, which is fantastic. There is two variants here that took me a few moments to work out, but basically you have, might just be better to zoom in. You've got two sets of 8-pin dip type pins that you can use, and I was like, why does it have that? But it turns out it depends on your style of programmer. Like in my case with this style, pin 1 will fit up here, but if you say have a different style one, then you may need it in a different orientation. So like this one here, see pin 1, see it won't fit in like that. So you know, it's a generic board that lets you fit it on multiple things. What I particularly like about this board, at least I'm pretty damn sure of it, is that it's got the pads for, where are you little, it's probably got the pads for the ROM chips on the Thunderbolt and stuff like that, I hope. Geez, I hope so. There's a whole different bunch of pads there as well. In fact, I'll go try one. I'll pull one off a... well, 165s have the ROM chips anyway. I could have sworn I... oh, come on now. Hey, Mark. Let's see, what am I looking at here? How is it that when I go looking for the chip that I want to grab... oh, there they are. These things. These things here. And you see them on the newer boards with the Thunderbolt ROMs. Oh, by the way, I got my new Amtech flux turned up today, the resupply. And this is far more what I was expecting. It kind of shows up better. You see how it's got more of like a, what would you say, whipped honey or condensed milk. It's an opaque looking flux compared to the one that I got before. You can see, you know, there's a significant difference there, though my lighting probably doesn't show up. This looks more like very light, clear honey, whereas this looks like creamed honey. Far more opaque, whereas this is somewhat more transparent. Anyway, so yeah, a bunch of tubes of that stuff that I'm not going to use anymore. So we get to use this new proper stuff, and best of all, this smells correct. So when you squeeze it out, it feels like you're taking a stroll in the forest. Hey Mark, you're not feeling good. What's up with you, Mark? You okay? Anything we can help with? Is it biological? Funnily enough, you know, every other factor of this flux seems to be fairly consistent, as it, you know, has the bubbles, it's fairly white and stuff like that, but it just didn't have the smell, and that was a big factor. I mean, I didn't push Amtech about it. I just simply said, look, yeah, it didn't seem to be how I was expecting. And they ran along and did a check, and they said, oh yeah, looks like we've sent a couple of duds out or something like that. And they sent me a complete replacement batch. I get my flux direct from Amtech. So even though Lewis won't ship it to you, you can buy it direct from Amtech. Anyway, so these little ROM chips, oh yeah, that smells like the old stuff. It's kind of like a mixture of baby powder and pine. It's about the only way I can describe it, and it gets better when it gets hotter. Oh, you tested CV19 positive. Oh, that really does suck. Yes, saying that your crook is about right. Oh no, that's not the same as what I'm used to. My bad. No, I thought that was the chip that I was expecting. I might have to get one from a... Okay, let me get one of the more recent boards. Ow, 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 that's burning my fingers. Paul's fingers do not appreciate the pain. It's one of these things. I think it might have the same footprint, it just had a different inner pad. Interesting, Greg, about the international shipping with Lewis. Okay, yeah, these are the ones. So here's hoping that we can find a suitable... is this going to be it, or is it not quite? We'll flip it over and have a look. Yep, that's the one. So you can see how the pitch lines up and the spacing lines up. That's fantastic. So basically now I can easily, whenever I have a board I haven't handled before, I can take one of these ROM chips off for the Thunderbolt or CD3215s and make a copy of the data. And so if they get corrupted, we can just simply pull one of these chips off another source and then reflash it with the ROM data that we had. So that's great. Thank you very much, Harold. That is actually going to be very useful. It's not what we're going to use it for tonight, but that will be useful for the future. Okay, so this is the board I need. Now what we're doing is that board that came in, I owe thanks to another person. I'll get to it shortly. That board that we declared as a dead PCH the other night, thanks to the infrared camera. Well, a spidey-eyed person was going through the video and they messaged me because they noticed something. And I'd like to put my thanks out there to Mireto. I think I may be butchering his alias there. That's not his actual name, but I don't want to give out his actual name. But he goes by the handle of Mireto or something like that. And he spotted one resistor, one little 0201 resistor that had been knocked off the board. And lo and behold, that was the fault. I put the resistor back on, and it worked. And that was like, you gotta be kidding me. So, goes to show, it's not always a PCH failure. Wonder how many boards I've diagnosed as being dead wrongfully. Oh well. Life goes on. Not for those boards though. Anyway, so the problem is that even though we've now got a working board, we've got a problem with the BIOS. I did give Muroto, I did give him a contribution that I hope he will find useful for his business, and he's over in the UK. So yeah, hello Bug, welcome. Anyway, so this is the problem with the board now, is that we have a EFI lock. So that is now why we have to use the Harold BIOS board chip thingamajig. I mean, I do have these ones already, but I'm going to give these ones a shot. They're nice and big, makes it easier. Now I also have to change the serial number on this, so I'm actually just going to start with a clean ME region, put the serial number in, and as a precaution I will reset the PRAM 3 times before I let it boot, and fingers crossed we'll have a working board. Yeah, the purple is pretty cool. You know, I'm not a big fan of color changes too much, but I gotta admit the purple looks cool, and it means I can probably find it in my workshop. Speaking of which, I did find my G tools. They were in a great big black cardboard box that I threw all my tools into a few weeks ago. I simply failed to retrieve it from that. Hey Keith, well, we haven't gotten too far, so it's all good. Hey Jason, from Unofficial Mac, welcome. Late night for you. Savvy Tech, I'm not really sure yet. I'll have to get the link from Harold. I was kind of hoping he might jump into stream and give the link to everybody, because I looked on his website quickly, but I couldn't find him. So I don't know if maybe they're just pre-production at this point. And maybe he's just sent them in to get tested. Oh, here we go. Here's Muroto. That is the chap that spotted the missing resistor, or the broken off resistor, and saved this entire board. So if you all say hi and thank you, that'd be great. And hopefully he's making use of the new bit of equipment he's got. I mean, the fact that he just spotted it out of the video just running along, that's quite some vision. Okay, so we're going to be using this one here. I'll just put some tinning on those pads. I do love that Harold's gone along and basically put every single type of chip that he can on this board. So I've got that one. That's the 34-37 size. I don't know what these are, but I have seen them around, but I don't know what the actual size is. Got that. Not sure what these are. Not quite sure what this is. Obviously some sort of connector. Maybe for a flat lead. Anyway, get to the job, Paul. Get to the job. And it's nice having the great big pin 1 marker there too. I am using a, what is this one? TL866CS. I did order the Pro version, the better version, but they stopped the order because they wanted to send it DHL, but unfortunately for me, DHL chucks a great big hissy fit shipping out to me, so it took about 2 or 3 months for them to finally come along and say, oh yeah, we've got to cancel that order because DHL doesn't want to send it to you. This board is a 1.6, standard 1.6 thick, so it should stand up to repeated dodgy work by me. Hey Warren. Okay, so they're all connected. It's a little warm. I'd been looking for my 1.8 volt converter. Finally found it. I don't need it in this instance. It was nice to finally get my hands on it. Okay. Okay, we're gonna have to go into quad display. Okay. Actually, I just might. I actually don't know what chip I have here, so I am going to. Let's see. You know what would be easier if I just look at it under the microscope. Oh, it's a Winbond, of course. Winbond 25Q64FE. It's probably not going to work. Yeah, didn't think so. Damn it. W25Q64. Ah, 25. Oh, okay. That's more like it. Unfortunately, in my case, the CS is a little bit slow, which is why I was wanting to order the upgrade model. But yeah, unfortunately, at least the upside is now that Harold sent me this adapter, I can get quite display. Yeah, now that Harold sent me this adapter, I only really need to buy the actual programmer rather than a whole set of adapters with it. Now I'm just reading the existing code first, and then I'm going to create the new the new BIOS with the new serial. Jason, I see you gave XSplit the kick. Alright. I have to find my photo album so that I can get a hold of the serial number that I'm supposed to use. Great. Oh, right, that's done. Okay. CV clean. To, Alrighty. Just trying to look, make sure everyone's going to see what the serial number is anyway. Okay. So, okay, save, and then we have to do the UEFI thing. Again, the reason why we have to go and looking up the UEFI tools because we need to get this here. We need to get the proper CRC. Okay, from here we read it backwards, so it should be C727, right, okay, cap locks on. C727 22A8. Save. Alright, so now that should be good. We'll reopen the file. And it should have a valid checksum. Yeah, okay. Checksum's now valid, so that's great. And Savvy was trying to tell me what I was already doing. Okay, now we write and wait. Hey Pedro, how's it feel to be out of the Zuckerberg jail? And how long is it going to be before you put yourself back in there? I don't know why you seem to end up stirring so much drama. on. A few days. What do you actually do to get yourself thrown into Facebook jail so frequently? I mean, really? You're just nasty. Well, I can't dispute that, unfortunately. So it looks like your own on that. Have you ever thought about not being nasty? Yeah, maybe that could be beneficial. Warren, yes, I did. That's him there. And it did the job. It still wasn't perfect, but it did do the job. I was able to pull out that indent from the lower chassis, so it's all good. Is that the 170 or 340? These are... I always just thought they were the 30 grams. Yeah, that's all. Interesting that the 138 to 300C. Anyway, it's good stuff. Smells good. That's what matters most. It smells good. Come on. 99. We still got to wait for the verify, the reading. I personally don't mind so much when it's just me in the workshop doing this sort of thing, but when it's on a live stream, the time that it takes can be a little bit intolerable. It's a tough call. I might have to back the fume extractor off a little bit to really enjoy the smell more. Hey, Textralian, that was certainly one of the things that most people find shocking about the Amtech Flux, at least previously, when they get the 559 and they just sort of like, wow, that smells so good. And it's like, well, you really shouldn't be smelling it, but if you happen to smell it, it's probably still not a good thing that it smells good. It's 7, 88, 89. We're almost there. Thank goodness I don't do this, or don't need to do this on a highly frequent basis. Okay, so that's all done. I'll put that aside for another day. I still have to use this just to let me get the part off. Because I hit it with the hot air and I kind of don't want it wobbling around while I work on it with the hot air. Okay. Easy peasy. That's some minimally marginal levels of solder down there, so I'll give it a little bit more. Just to fluff the pads up. Mind you, on that side I sort of more took away from the fluffing. Oh well. Fluffed one side, defluffed another. Alright, now, hopefully I will remember to hold down for the, what do you call it? The RAM reset. It'll be a little bit embarrassing if I forget it after all that. It means I also have to make sure that my keyboard's connected, because it'll definitely be embarrassing if I forget that. I don't know if it's actually required when I'm doing a complete new ME region though, but I'm not going to bother taking the risk of not. To be fair, I don't even know if that clean ME region image that I had is actually a proper one. Could be a dud for all I know. Hey Patrick, how's it going? Okay, that's done. Come on, give me the trackpad. And of course, naturally, the keyboard is doing its very best to hide away there. So, don't hide from us, keyboard. We need you for once. Ah, great. So it offsets by 1 pin. We're good? We're good. That was a little more drama than I wanted. That. Speak for yourself, Pedro. I've never forgotten. That is true, yeah. Not having the battery in there, slightly less time dependent. Thank you, Patrick, for the 5. Very much appreciated. One more time. Hey, Wes. And away we go. Well, that looks more positive. The screen is a bit botched up, you know, it's got a bit of damage here, but the main important part is still visible. GD Tech, I do not have a clean bench. Come on, if I zoom out, you'd see all the crap. Yeah, just for that, I'm going to zoom out so you can see all the crap. There, see? Crap everywhere. It's all about framing the view. This is probably going to run a bit slow because I haven't got a battery in it. Oh, we've got a flickering background too. Oh, Oh, hilarious. I just realised now I do need to... There we go. About this Mac. Just have to guess where my mouse pointer was. Okay, just verify that we do in fact have the right serial number. C2 Quark M86. Yep, that looks good. Wi-Fi's working. Temperatures are all looking proper. Okay, so I think that is fixed. I wonder if I do have a battery that I can plug in. I'm not too sure if I've got a 2015 one though. So there's a bit of a concern. Yeah, I'm not sure if that's a 2015 hack job or not. Shut down. Shut down. Hey B-Dog, welcome back. What overhead cam am I running? That is the one that Jim sent me. That's a Panasonic VX1, I think it is. Yeah, Panasonic HC VX1. It's one of these things. It's a 4K, but it gives me 1080 output. The nice thing is the 1080, it's 50 frames per second, so I guess you can have 4K 30 frames or 25 frames, or you can have 1080 at 50. I'm pretty happy with that. And the face camera is a Sony AX33, which is essentially the same sort of thing. So they're not quite as fancy as, say, like Lewis has one of those professional studio cameras, I believe. So I'm not quite up to that level of fancy. Mind you, for his overhead, I do believe he uses the Sony A5100. I was looking for an A5100 or similar, or any of the Sony Alpha series, but I couldn't find any. And so I ended up with those Handycam type ones instead. Okay, this better not blow up this board because I kind of need this board. Alright. I have my doubts if it's going to charge or not, but we'll see. It only looks old school because the box is a bit tattered. GD Tech, certainly getting a good capture card is very, very useful. I was extremely fortunate with mine. The Coney HDMI that I have, it retails currently for around about $1,400–1,500 Australian dollars. And I was lucky enough to pick mine up for $700 odd. So it was very fortunate. Pardon me. Okay, looks like that's actually taken charge, so that's good. I've got 7% up top. How do I mount it? I have a bar that runs across the top of off the ceiling, and it's just a horizontal, I think it's a 20 or 25 millimeter diameter steel bar, hollow tube rather I should say, and I use that with just with clamps. I'm trying to see if I've got one around that I can show you. I'm kind of utilizing them all at the moment. But anyway, you get the camera clamps, the multi-joint clamps, and they've got like a crocodile pincer sort of thing, and you just tighten it down onto the bar. $3.5 amps. This board is running beautifully. What are we doing? 30 frames per second, that's tolerable. I could have sworn I had a couple more of those clamps lying around. This is basically what they are. And then they've got, you got two different threads there. I think, what is that, 1/4 inch and maybe, not yeah, about 1/4 inch, whatever. But they're standards. And yeah, you just sort of tighten them down onto the pipe, which goes in there, and it holds it steady. Makes it easy for mounting those things above you, rather than having tripods or anything else like that. I also have my lights mounted off it as well. Keeps it out of the way, you don't trip over it. 3/8 and 1/4. I was going to say 3/8, but I wasn't feeling confident about that. Okay, the only thing going on here is my fan's not spinning. I'm not sure. Now, I know that on the 4924 fan spin takes a long time, but this it is up to temperature. And it's throttling back. So I don't have fan spin. That's not a good thing. I don't know whether I've got a damaged fan or whether... I think I might not have locked it down. Did I not lock you down, Mr. Fan? Yeah, I didn't lock it down. Okay. As soon as I locked it down, the fan started spinning. Whoops. Yeah, you should see there, 4,800 RPM now. And it's off. Hey, for Chumba. Hey, Wayne's new repair. Let's see, just looking up at GD Tech's comment here. Sorry, what have I left off the list, Mark? Oh, what the cameras are. Oh, it's just me being lazy. I haven't had a chance to get around to it. Let's see, GD Tech. I'm using one of those cheap USB ones for my microscope. Can't speak at the moment. Since it's only 720 60 frames per second, the cheap capture card captures it at 720. Oh, okay, yeah. Have you got one of those USB ones, or have you got so you go in HDMI output, or yeah? Hey Harold, we've already done the job, and well, it did do the task, but yeah, at the start of the video I go over the board, also show how it's got the footprint for those Thunderbolt ROMs on the newer boards as well. So very happy with that, Harold. It did the job, very nice, no dramas, works perfectly. The only thing I wasn't sure is, do you have a link for people to be able to order them or buy them, or is this still in development? Hey Cecilia from Poland. Isn't the HCVX1 discontinued? Quite likely is. Yes. Superseded by something newer, no doubt. But I mean, both of these cameras that I have, I purchased as second-hand. Well, Jim got this one second-hand, and then I got this one second-hand. I picked up this one for $300. I'm very happy with it. The only thing about this one is with the HDMI, the micro HDMI input, it's... yeah, I'm kind of worried the connector's going to break off internally, and I suspect this camera is going to be a nightmare to pull apart. But this one, it seems pretty good, and it never gets moved around, so hopefully it will last forever. Okay, so Harold's going to add it to his site later. Oh, that's good. Good. Let's see, GD Tech. Microscope has HDMI output and it goes to the USB capture card. It's one of those that look like, oh yeah, the $20 ones. What will happen with that is one day it will just cook itself to death and stop working. I bought a couple myself and they did work fine for quite a while. And then one day they just went, nah, that's it, we're dead. If you do buy a proper... Oh, hey, sweetie. He's just... let me get a hold of him and... Hang on there, just give me a tick. Where is it, Mo? Yeah. Come here. Oh, here comes Luna. We don't want that. No? Look, there you go. Gotta say hello, don't you? Every single time. No? You never look happy about being here either. Mostly because you're being held and you want to roam around in here, don't you? No? Don't you? This is Milo. Aren't you? Yeah, now you want to roam around. You can't roam around. Say hello to the camera. No. What you doing? Alright, you've had a look. Now you can go back out. Oops. You okay? Alright, well, that was the kitty event for the evening, I guess. Milo is a he, by the way, and no, he's just a general tabby, maybe a little bit of tortoiseshell, not much. Oh my god, Chris Long is here. Chris Long, it's been so long since you've been here that I almost forgot what your real name was. Alright, shut this down. So there we go, we went from a failed 4924 that we thought was actually a dead PCH, but it turns out it was just one dud resistor, and then we found that it was EFI locked. That is now fixed. So we're fortunate that we had two people helping at just the right times. One to tell me that there was a resistor missing, and another one to send me the adapter boards so that I could actually have an easier job programming them. To be fair, you know, I do have these little tiny ones as well. But this purple board by Harold, I'm definitely going to be using that from now on. Okay, so I can pack this up and ship it out, I guess. I didn't check the camera. Damn it. God damn it. Didn't check the camera. Everything else was working fine, but I didn't check the camera. Chris, you lurk, do you? Well, that's very... You know, that's considered stalking in some places. You can get a restraining order on you for that. You have to keep a good 20 meters away from me. I suppose I should also check that the SSD works. That's the other thing that we have to be sure of. Because this is being sent off to someone kind of like as a half favor. The last thing I want to do is be stuck in a situation where things just go wrong. So better that I take the extra time right now and verify everything than wait till I get a squealing email about how things do not go right. I think I'll still boot from the USB stick though. But at least when I pull up the boot options, it might show up. SD card, that's another one. Thank you, Alexandra. Can't stalk the willing. Oh, that's some terrible defense there. Right, well, did I disconnect the keyboard? No. Well, the SSD works. Not quite how I wanted that to go. Okay. Odds are 2 to 1 the camera works, as in it works or it doesn't work. And we'll check that SD card as well. Although the SD card is more a function of the daughter board, but we will check it. Chris, what have you been up to anyway? Are you doing CPU replacements yet? You know, on iPhones? Or are you staying away from that madness? Where are my USB bits and pieces? If you notice your socks missing, then you know that you have a stalker. That's kind of rather specific, isn't it? What's going on here? See, it's not... Okay, we have some level of intimate... Oh, okay. That's definitely my fault. Once again, locking tab wasn't down because I was halfway through. Nice to see that the Mac board will actually reset the connection after you put the locking tab down. Okay, cancel. So I need my USB thingy jiggy wiggy bang. Where are all my USB sticks? I swear this room has become cursed or something like that. Like, I mean, I was not able to find those G tools until today, and now I am looking for the container that has all the USB sticks that I use, and I found it. Yeah. It's calling the universe out on its crap. Sorry, I had to finish a speaker charge port. Done a few CPU swaps. Oh, cool. Okay. You fancy people and your advanced techniques stuff. Hard to get free time. Well, that I can completely understand. That one's not showing up. I don't know if that's been blanked or not. And like I said, this is really more a function of the daughter board, not really the main board. Although, to be fair, we are booting. Okay, yeah, it's just the stick has nothing on it, or it's dead. So that does work. We need to check the camera now. What are Kionli 3D drivers? Are they like screwdrivers? Hello! Okay, that's good. Camera works. Speakers? Yep, that works. Microphone. Yep, microphone works. Alright, best I can tell, everything works. Chris, it's been pretty slack going, really. I mean, you think about how many years I've been doing this channel, and what, we're only just in the 30s now. So I consider it, to be honest, pretty piss poor performance. If I was doing this for a living, I would be long dead by now. Very long dead. I mean, it is growing. I will agree to that, but for some reason, I just don't generate the content that people are excited to see. I should say, it's not the kind of content that YouTube really pushes out there much, and I understand that. You know, it's very low density content. I do find if I take the time to edit my videos and create 10 to 15 minute long videos, that is when the subs start to pick up. But of course, editing videos, hell, I don't have enough time to keep up my jobs as it is, so I just have to accept that it is the way it is. I had a good number of boosts from various people, such as Lewis originally, and then my mate Vince, and then Adamain TIT. Recently, people like the Coder, and other people in the industry. Oh, and of course Jason, STS Telecom. Can't forget Jason. No one can forget Jason. 30,000, nothing to complain about. Yes, it is. It should be 300,000. Maybe I should smash more MacBooks or something, I don't know. Viewers are a fickle bunch. Not that I'm expecting to have results or anything like that, it's just more a case of, you know, that if you can get your content right and play the algorithm appropriately, you know you can pick up a lot more subs, but like I said, that's too much hard work. More hammers to MacBook out. That's exactly it. By the way, Chris, finally got the new Amtech back. I just noticed that they've changed the flag on that, probably to differentiate it again from the wasn't quite so good batch. Yeah, so different kind of flag. This one's got the swooping stars and stripes. This one's got the wavy stars and stripes. But yeah, let's see. I might have to send... I mean, this stuff works, but it's not the same as that stuff. For most people, having any kind of flux, hell, even having Vaseline, is probably a step up from what they're dealing with now. Getting content right is a fun. It really is, Mark. Yeah, it really is. And every now and then you will get a hint of what's wanted. I mean, my most popular video overall is the one where I'm just cleaning out the ear mesh of an iPhone. And I've got so many positive comments from that. People saying, thank you so much, saved my phone, blah, 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 blah. But I just don't produce that kind of content. I produce content that's more, hey, look, I'm working in the workshop. Here's a computer that I've got to fix, or here's a phone I'm fixing, whatever. Grab a chair, sit in, grab a beer or a cider, and watch me try not to wreck everything. Let's see. Speaking of which, one of these days I should fix my own phone up. Look at that, so it's smashed in the corner. But since it's my own phone, I'm not going to fix that up in a hurry. Alright, well, I think that's it for the evening as far as I can tell. This is clearly not a dead PCH machine. I'm trying to think if I should take a moment to clean up that flux. Need more cat content. Yeah, I mean, I agree, cat content helps, but I think it's kind of over. I know everyone, it's a bit of a joke though, a bit of a meme thing. Add the cats and successful fellow. Try to sop up as much of this as I can before I go at it with the IPA. Yeah, strike off the dead. Oh, for those wondering, the resistor in question that had been knocked off is this one up here. Sorry, this top one here. And it forms a part of the CPU voltage sense circuit. So I was kind of half on the correct path the other night when I was looking at this board, because I was thinking, maybe it's current sense or something, but turns out it was, yeah, just missing that resistor. It wasn't completely missing, it had just been knocked off, which kind of is curious. I don't know how it got knocked off. Maybe I'm speculating that when they bought the machine in at some point to the people whom I got this board from for a repair, during that repair process the resistor got knocked off just in the process of moving the board in and out. And once that happened, they went, oh well, looks like we're going to have to replace that one. Kind of wondering if they blame the user for it too. Probably not. Hey Home Simpson, been a while. By the way, I have updated the Flexboard View purchase page with even more warnings about do not buy this product. I am getting somewhat sick to death of people buying the software and going, oh, it's not what I wanted. And yeah, I mean, I understand accidents can happen, but there's... I try very hard to make it very clear that don't buy the software unless you really, really know what you're buying. And for God's sake, try using Open Board View first, and then at least you know what you're dealing with and the context of which you have to have. Yeah, anyway, I gotta clean this off. Yeah. Yeah, that's a little excessive. Ah, Homer, you must have bought the wrong one. You've got to get the one that you don't want. Like I said, I understand that sometimes people get excited. They get in their minds a certain perception of what they're going to be buying. And you just blindly click through things and just say, yes, I agree, whatever, yeah, just give me the product. And then when you get the product, you're like, whoa, this isn't quite what I was after. Unfortunately, I do put a lot of effort into putting in roadblocks and checks and things like that, and I feel like if you still buy it after all that, then I really, if you're going to lodge a PayPal request, then basically you're now going to be paying me not for the license, but for the time it's going to take for me to have to deal with PayPal and explain the situation. So it's it's frustrating. I don't want to piss people off when they buy the product and they feel like they shouldn't have bought it, but the trouble is there's only so much I can do. And if you're going to walk in and still put down that money, then I'm going to hold that money. That's basically what it comes down to. The board views and schematics is one of the other ones. Yeah, one of the main reasons. Yeah. Mark went from Blandrex to Flexboard View and have not looked back. Well, thank goodness for that. So you should buy the Chinese ZXW. Yes, that's right. Yep. That's left a bit of a watermark on there, but I've been told to dispatch it regardless, and it's like I'm not worried about it electrically. It's fine. There's no dramas. That's circuit board cleaning stuff. So that's just fringe residues caused by the evaporation, leaving behind a little bit of whatever solvent or whatever, but it seems to be fine. But it does still knock me a little bit because I get a bit pedantic about this, particularly considering how nice I know that these boards come out after I do them with the ultrasonic. Fortunately, Harold, to this date, because of the way I have the purchase process set up, PayPal has always sided in my favor. I've had to raise a what do you call it? an appeal a couple of times, and mostly because I can understand by the way that PayPal is talking to me that they don't understand what the customer has purchased or the process by which the customer has purchased it. The main thing is that Flexboard View is not something you're going to purchase out of the blue. It's not some product that's advertised and you get scammed into buying, as it were. Yeah, it's not like it's sitting on the latest news article or YouTube video or something like that. It's you have to be looking for it in the first place to get to it, which sets it up as it cannot be an accidental purchase initially, and then with all the clarifications, the warnings, the request for the buyer to confirm that they understand the terms and conditions, all that sort of stuff, it basically basically gives me a strong legal foothold from which I can defend my transaction. And yes, we've cleaned off the dead PCH. It is no longer a dead PCH. And yes, digital purchase has a special policy on PayPal. That's the other thing, is once you issue a digital license, then it's kind of like with the CD. You can't take it back. You can't get a refund on it because of its digital nature. So you can take a copy and then say, I want a refund. And because of that being a relatively high risk, then you have that bit of extra protection from PayPal for the license sale. In other words, it's not something that Pedro would sell. No, Pedro would never sell it, particularly not at such a cheap price. He would add at least a 1 and an extra couple of zeros to the end of it. Yeah. On Mac, Jason, let's see, on Mac, how do I get to Flex to link to PDF? You should be able to, if you have the board view and the PDF in the same folder, then when you load the when you load the board view, then it should automatically load the PDF. I'll show you the file structures that I use here. I did have a big document that I've been writing on it. I'm just going to make sure I've got everything correct. Okay, schematic. It's a bit hard to see. Damn you, Ubuntu, and your stupid, horrible color scheme. Okay, so anyway, you can see in the Apple folder I've got all the different boards and they are their own folders. So if we go to A20000165, then there's a lot of crap files in here, but essentially we have A20000165 PDF, and we have, where is it, A200, these two here. So you want the board file and you want the PDF, and they should be in their own folder. And by having it in their own folder, it means all the associated files that get generated for various bits of data are also in the same location. Like there's the OpenBoard data files, there's the attributes database files, and then there are top and bottom picture files for the board. Not that that's yet actually a feature. It's coming, but it's not yet here. It's kind of a bit of a mess still. It's like if I go open, so view, okay, this is not going to be aligned properly, but you get the idea. Oh wait, no, that's not even loading the image. That's a lie. There we go. So yeah, you can see you can do image underlays or overlays. Underlay is really what it is. Funnily enough, this is one of those things that you would initially think are going to be really helpful, but you ultimately find that it's not really that helpful. It looks good initially, and you think, wow, that's going to make it so much easier. But in the end, it becomes a case of there being too much information presented to you. So let's try to say 120, 200. And it's something that I've noticed quite a few times now, is that you do get situations where there's just simply too much information being presented to you on the screen, and it confuses you more than it helps. At least for me personally. Now, other people might be okay with it, but for me it was always a bit of a, maybe there's some tweaking that can be done to improve on it. So perhaps if we go to, if we don't fill in the parts, so part fill, just turn that off, and then you just got the pads. There's also alignment issues. That's the other problem, is that these images are taken with a flatbed scanner, and even with the flatbed scanner, this is a Epson 3D flatbed scanner, there are certain distortions that come in that have to be factored for, and it's quite a bit of work, and it's almost never 100% perfect. Like, you can have it nicely lined up at this end, but then by the time you get to this end, it's sort of drifted a little bit. Yeah. Anyway, it's something I'm working on. It's a feature, when I'm happy with it. It is already there in the latest board view file program, but it's not perfect, so I haven't really announced it. I've had a few other features that I've programmed in. You spent weeks programming, months even, and then when you finally get to start using it, you're like, oh, yeah, that doesn't really work out quite as efficiently or as well as I had hoped. And so you just drop it. To be fair, like I said, it does vary person to person. I can only really gauge based on my own use. So I will tend to leave the feature in there, but it may not get quite the future development that other people were hoping for, at least not in the short term. So, can you add? Chris, I have a whole bunch of stuff that it does. Oh, let me just show you that again. I have added in those things. Like, if you go to preferences, like, you got the offsets and scales. Rotation I haven't put in, mostly because it actually has a very high penalty in terms of CPU. The best thing really is to make it that the image you're using is as perfect as it can be, so that Flexboard View can just load it and nothing else. Not even any offset's about the only thing that doesn't hit you bad with CPU. Scaling will hit you. Opacity is not really a problem. That's handled pretty well. But yeah, scaling and rotating, that will just hurt you too much in terms of CPU. So the ideal thing is to get the image perfect for a direct overlay straight up. And then if you have to, you can offset back 1 or 2 pixels or whatever. I mean, it really doesn't matter. So you can see, you can see it shifting across there. But I'll demonstrate what I mean about how it will drift. Let's see. Okay, so let's say get this connector here lined up. What is that? That's the top side image. And so that's pretty good. But then you do get things like, see, the test pads are already drifted out, so you can tell you've got a scaling issue right there. So you squeeze up the scale a bit, so that, yeah. Anyway, it proves to be a lot trickier than you initially anticipate. And then if you go to the opposing side of the board, you can see things are way out of proportion there. So yeah, it's all fun and games. That's why you really need to scale the image perfectly, or maybe find a way I can resave the image from within Flexboard View so that it's a static result. Is there any way in software to bind the board view scale so the edge of the board? Unfortunately, it's probably going to be more coding drama than what I can really do, because that starts to get really fuzzy, and I find that the outline itself doesn't always directly correlate to the position of the components either. So you really do need to base it on the components more than the outline. It's, put it this way, it's a function that for now it kind of exists there, but the ideal thing would be for somebody, yeah, if everybody just did one board, made the image absolutely perfect for the board view, then that would be it. We wouldn't have to even have any of the offset scalings or anything. It'd just be, once that board view, once the board image top and bottom is done perfectly, that's it. We just share it out. Nothing ever needs to be done beyond that. That's the way I prefer to approach it, rather than everybody having to tweak and adjust and chew up CPU cycles over it. So anyway, I'm out of here. Time for me to go and wind down for the night. I appreciate you all being here, and thank you, Harold, and thank you also to Miroto for that resistor spotting. And I'll see you next time. Might be tomorrow, might be next week. But anyway, until then, you take care. I'll catch you later.